Hi, welcome to the Dull Edge. This is our podcast where we answer all the questions that we feel like answering because we have time and want to answer them. So,
Ew.
a little while ago we talked about our favorite places we've
I'm
ever
Bobby.
visited. Oh yes, I'm sorry. We're just
No,
going to
it's
skip
fine.
you. If
I'm
you have
mentally
got this
prepped.
far and not known who we are, why are you listening?
I
But
don't
please
know.
keep.
But please do. If this is your first time, welcome. Just kidding. We're not aggressive.
Right. I'm Shay.
I'm Bobby.
Thank you for listening. Okay, so a few episodes ago we talked about the worst places. Or the best places we've been to, and today we're going to talk about the worst vacations that we've been on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first because
Okay,
mine's pretty tame. I go on a lot of trips, so I feel like I am fine most of the time. The one that I thought of was when we wanted to go river rafting. And so we went down to Vernal, and I don't know, Vernal's nothing. I don't know.
There's not much
There's
there.
not a whole lot. Anyways, we went down there and we got there and river rafting. To be fair, we'd never river raft, so it was probably the best thing for us. But it was basically like a tubing, but we like mentally prepared for like
like whitewater rafting.
Yeah,
okay.
And it was like one of those fun. I just sit in a tube sort of things. But we were in a raft for river rafting, so it wasn't even like I'm sitting in my own tube, whatever.
No.
It was just like
in a boat,
and it was just there.
Well, that sounds hot and boring.
It was really boring, and it was so slow. Like I could have gotten out and ran faster.
Oh,
but
dear.
Anyways, it was boring, and then there was this motel, which I personally, that's the standard that I should have said in a previous one. Is I do not stay in motels. I do not
don't
do
like
that.
staying in
I do
motels
not
either.
like that. I have a certain whatever. But anyways, it's probably because of this. But so we get there, and it's my uncle, my cool uncle. He does construction, and he's like, oh, I always stay here at this place. And we're like, nice. And he's like, I have a standard room upstairs, and then we rented another room because there was that many of us. And so it was basically we split it. So all the boys went up with Kevin and went up into his room, and then it was me, my mom, and my aunt Jenny went to the other one. We went in there, and it was disgusting. It smelled like people were smoking while cleaning with orange cleaner. The bed looked like it got touched every hour, if you know what I'm saying. Like we did not. There was like a hole in the door that looked like someone punched it. Like
lovely.
It was awful, and we did not sleep in the bed. Like we literally like laid on the bed, and then we, for whatever reason, a few of us, we had like blankets that we like draped over us, and we just were like, okay. And I don't even know if I think we were supposed to stay 2 days. Did we river raft after? Maybe we got there and we're going to stay. I can't remember, but we ended up leaving, and I remember driving in the night being like, we are going home. Yes. We are not staying here.
Take a shower.
This is take a shower. This is disgusting. Like it was like icky.
So gross.
Ick. Yeah, it was just awful. And I already hate car rides, so like driving to Vernal was like maddening for me. I don't know. It was just not good. It was not good. So that's one of mine. That whatever is. Do you have one worse?
I don't know if it's worse. It's maybe traumatic. But
traumatic.
Motels, though, I'll tell you why we don't like motels. Is because we stayed in a motel in at Lake San Diego, outside of San Diego, but we didn't know the area.
Dude, I stayed in a hostel before I stayed in another motel.
Well,
like
we made this mistake.
Okay.
So, but there was a hole through the door that was too low to be a peephole to look out there.
Oh no!
And it went all the way through. There was no fittings on it. So something had gone through the door.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you walked in, not too far from there were brown stains on the carpet. Now, I'm not saying that somebody got shot and murdered in that motel, but I think someone got shot and murdered in that motel.
So it was that big. I was thinking like you meant like a quarter size hole.
No. Well,
like you mean like a pinky?
Yeah, like you could stick your finger through it. Yeah.
Oh god.
Pretty sure somebody got shot and died in that room.
Oh my god.
So anyway, maybe they didn't die. Maybe
they just almost bled out and then they lived.
I don't know. But I'm like, why do you let people stay in there? Not okay.
No.
Like, what are you doing? So, well, that's what you get for $35 a night. So we learned our lesson. So there's that. So I don't like motels.
Where was? Oh, in San Diego.
Like outside of San Diego somewhere.
Okay,
I'm not even sure. I was too young.
Yeah.
Anyway, but okay. So here's the other one. It was very traumatic, and like, it's the worst. So my family wanted to go on this awesome trip into Idaho, and we wanted to go up to like Yellowstone and all this kind of stuff, which is gorgeous. Love Yellowstone. But there's a river outside of there that goes from Big Springs, and it travels through a couple lakes and goes over a gorgeous waterfall, and I wish I could remember the name of it. But the day before, we had gone to see the waterfall, and it was gorgeous, beautiful, but there was like no handrails. And
Yeah.
there was no park rangers or anything. It's just like, oh, we know where this trail is. Let's just, get off the highway and we're going to go stand and look at the waterfall. I'm like, this is so dangerous. It's all slippery and wet, but beautiful.
Yeah.
But instant death. Like, if you slip, you're going to die, right?
Neat.
And so, like, we're sitting there watching
nature.
I'm watching, like, logs go off this waterfall and stuff. And then, like, I saw this fish that totally suicided off the waterfall. I'm like, whoa, there he goes. Splat fish, right?
Oh, my
gosh.
So
then we get back in the car and they're like, okay, wasn't that so cool? This is on this river. And they were, like, really clear about what river this was. I'm like, okay, cool. So the next morning, they're like, okay, we're going to go tubing on the river. And I'm like,
the one that we just saw with all the death?
Okay. All the death and destruction, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go tubing on the river. I'm like, okay. So,
like, does everyone else, or just your family was like, that seems like water?
Like an extended family type of thing. So there was, I had like 50 cousins there.
Okay, but like, was it just them being like, hey, water, and we got some tubes, or was it like, no, people do this?
It was like people do this, but I'm like, when you're young, you're dumb and you don't know what's happening.
Right. You're like, that, my mind doesn't comprehend.
Right.
Like,
and I'm the youngest, and so nobody bothered explaining it to me because they figured I was just smart enough to get it and probably should have been, but I wasn't. So anyway, so we went up there and we went up to the spring and we got on the tubes and stuff. Well, I'm little and light, and so my tube takes off down the river.
Right.
So I'm like miles ahead of my family.
Are you above or below the waterfall?
I didn't know, and that's why I was so scared. So I'm sitting here on this river for like 2 hours thinking without my family.
You're just going, and you're just like, well, hopefully I catch a branch or something.
Yeah. So for like 2 hours I'm sitting there crying my eyes out because I thought that they were sending me to my death. I thought they were.
They're like, we got one too many. Send that one away.
I know.
Oh my god!
I am the fifth redundancy. That's what I call myself. They don't need me, so they've got plenty of lines of inheritance. But oh my gosh, like I was so scared, and like I didn't know that there was going to be a place where people would get out of there. And so I just was like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Which seems insane to me that they weren't like, I'm getting in and have a few, like you'd be the middle of the pack. Like that seems where you'd put the small
like somebody would hold on to
Why
me.
they put you in first? I don't know.
That's what happens when you have like 50 cousins, I guess. Anyway,
so like, no.
So someone, fortunately, one of my taller cousins was able to, had got down first and was pulling everybody out. And so he grabbed me and saved my life. And then I didn't find out until years later, that the waterfall was like 100 miles away. They didn't tell us. It's maybe not that far, but it was like a long way away. Like, there's a lake in between us.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought
there would have been no danger at all. You'd just been fine. But
I'd been totally fine.
Did you tell that cousin about it? Where you're like, thank you for saving my life?
No, just kidding. I should have done.
You should.
I should have. I think I was too traumatized. I'm not even sure which one of my cousins it was.
You should. Oh, I was gonna say you should text him today and be like, man. Thanks for saving my life. Be like, who is this?
Anyway,
you're like,
okay, but that wasn't it either. So like, I was terrified. This is all the same trip. I was terrified of heights, and Sawtell Peak is this tallest peak in Idaho. And so everybody's like, oh, we're gonna go up Sawtell Peak. We're gonna go up Sawtell Peak, and it's the biggest, tallest. And they just keep telling you they're hyping it. It's the tallest, right?
Okay.
Well, okay, so the back roads to get up to the top of the mountain are like really tiny, right?
Sure.
Well,
mountain
we're
roads.
in like a 12-seater van.
Nice.
So we're going up these roads, and of course I'm in the window seat next to the cliff.
Ones?
Yeah.
Dude, I already think that those are going to tippy on like the turns on regular streets.
So, and my dad's just driving up there and everybody's having a great time. And I'm sitting here looking over the edge of the cliff like the entire time, like trying not to pee my pants. So anyway, we get up to the top and we have my cousin with us in the car. And he is a prankster, like a huge prankster.
A different cousin than the one saved you?
Yeah, a different cousin.
Okay.
And so we get out, and they were trying to convince me to get out of the car. And just come get out of the car, come and see the mountain and look at the views and stuff. And I'm like, no,
like at the
I'm
top, like this is why we came all the way up here.
Yeah, this is why we came up. And I was like, okay. So like I slink out of the car and I'm like down on my hands and knees because I'm little. I don't understand that like a peak isn't what you draw when you're a little kid.
It's not literally round. Like everybody walk up to the tip and you're gonna tip off the other edge.
Yeah, so I didn't understand that. So anyway, so I like start to walk over just to like the crest of the hilltop where it starts to look down so you can see and stuff. And my stupid cousin, I could kill him.
Did he do this?
Yes, he comes up behind me and he grabs my shoulders. Don't fall! And I literally like belly flopped on the ground and like snaked it back to the van and like slunk in and hid under a seat in the van.
Yeah.
Because I just thought I was gonna die.
That was it? You're already on the edge?
That whole trip was like that. Like just a whole lot of things that just happened and nobody explained them to me. Like they're just scary
more and more
stuff like that. Just more trauma,
more worked up the whole time.
The whole time. Like I couldn't.
And now you're here where you're like, let me tell you about the worst time
I've ever had. I was so scared and so sad the whole time on that entire trip. And I'm sure I ruined it for everybody and I apologize. But you know what? It was scary.
I feel, well, if they don't help you in the beginning, it's kind of like they get their comeuppance, you know?
I don't know. When you have older kids, I guess you just assume the younger kids like learn stuff by osmosis or something. I don't know,
but like,
I don't know.
I always like, I don't know. At least with like my niece and stuff, I'm always like, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go to the hockey game now.
Yeah.
And You
I
tell
don't
them,
know.
hey, we're going up these stairs because that's where the seats are. I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
why is that not like a common thing? Just
Well,
tell the children, hey, this is what we're doing.
I don't know. There's maybe just too many kids. I don't know. It was really
That's
funny
weird.
though. I laugh
That's
at
weird.
it now. We all laugh at it now, but it was so terrifying. So the worst trip I've ever been on. Other than that, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I've enjoyed
Alright.
most of my trips. So
Sorry, might have been so boring.
No.
I guess so there's this one trip.
Oh.
Super awkward. I went with my now ex-boyfriend, and it was just like this like super awkward like thing. I guess it wasn't the worst, but it was like super. Stop. I hope they at least caught the horn on the thing because we just made it awkwardly
like saying stop to yourself in the middle of the
Yeah.
thing. Stop.
We like went to Moab, so we drove all the way down to Moab, and we were in like an Airbnb with all of his like Air Force buddies.
Oh yeah.
And they were like nice, but like I was not a part of them.
Oh.
And like they weren't even a part of each other. Like their whole conversations were always just like jabs at each other, like funny jabs.
Oh.
But like so there was no real conversation anywhere. And then to go outside, it was windy, so it was freezing cold. And you think, no, it's supposed to be warm. It's Moab, the freaking desert.
Yeah.
And no, it's freezing cold. So now you just have this thing, and then it was a 4-hour drive. Again, at that point, I hated drives.
Oh,
but,
man.
So
girl on a boys trip, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. No, there were some other ones. There were some
other girls?
There were some other girls there. Like there was a lady that was in the Air Force. I think there was one lady who was in the Air Force, and then other people brought their like girlfriends. But like some of them are not smart. Hopefully they don't listen to this. Sorry if you know who I am. But there was one girl, and she's like, we went to a fancy restaurant, and we went to eat, and she got a salad, and they had like, you know what a twill of cheese is? Where they like cook the cheese, and it like kind of burns.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of crispy cheese on the top.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, this fancy restaurant didn't even break apart my cheese, and like whatever, and it's like clearly meant to be like that, and I just was like,
I didn't know that's what it's called, but yeah, I know what those are.
Oh yeah,
a twill.
I think it's a twill.
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
Oh, you know, pish posh. I watch the cooking shows. It might not be a twill, so sorry everyone if it's not. But anyways, I don't know.
No, that sounds horrible.
Not like it wasn't the worsty worst, like not like that traumatic.
Oh.
It wasn't traumatic, but it was boring as fuck. So nuts.
Oh,
yeah.
My sister broke a dude's nose on a trip once. That was awesome.
On purpose or on accident?
Well, he was
like,
being obnoxious.
Like
so.
she punched him, or she tripped and went, "Oh no, frick! You're the
wall."
wall."
No, that would have been funny if she had punched him. She's strong enough to. She could have done it, but no.
Yeah.
We were on a bus, and you know those like a tour bus where you can like move your seat back like 7 inches for provided comfort or whatever, which is not comfortable at all.
Sure.
Well, he was bugging her, sticking his face in between.
Oh yeah.
And so she waited until he was doing it again, and she knew he was coming, so she cranked back on that seat and threw her shoulders back into it, and it landed on his face real hard. The headrest did.
Yeah.
She totally broke his nose.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't find out about it until we got back because he couldn't breathe out the one side, and so
he didn't get like 2 black eyes or anything.
No.
Oh.
He didn't. She just she must have broken it into his sinuses.
Oh.
So anyway, but yeah, he had to go to the hospital and get a surgery for broken nose.
I bet you they're not dating.
No, he did like her though.
Oh,
which I feel bad
even
for.
After that?
Yeah. But he was a nice kid. I feel bad, but he was being extremely really obnoxious.
Nice. But were they like? How old did you say?
In high school.
Oh yeah, then well that's the time, isn't it?
So anyway, she totally broke his nose. That was so funny.
Oh
I feel bad for the kid though.
Yeah, he
handled it really well, and now
good.
he's got a great story.
There you go. You're the winner, aren't you? You have the good story. You're the one coming out of with the win.
You can always say a girl broke your nose. Like,
is that something you want to say?
Well, it depends on what party you're in, I guess. It's a great 2 truths and a lie. Like,
everyone's like, well, that's probably a lie, isn't it? Everyone loves being like, a girl broke my nose.
Oh, man.
Even the other girls, I don't think I would be like, so like, unless I was mad, I'd be like, that friggin' lady over there. Garbage.
Oh, no, they were friends after, so it's all good.
Oh, good.
Anyway, there you go. So bad trips. There you go.
Bad trips.
Tell us about your trips, guys. What are the worst trips you've been on?
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.